Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Logic's co-taught lesson. And we are going to be working on AI fundamentals for junior high and senior high students. And my name is Dennis. I'm from Winnipeg, and I'm a technology coordinator there. I work with students and teachers on how to use technology in the classroom, coding, AI, robots, all that kind of stuff. And my friend Cammie's here with us too. Cammie, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Well, hello. I'm from the prairies as well. I'm from Alberta, and it's just about a little bit dark here yet, getting to be a little bit lighter. I have a role very similar to Dennis's. I was a high school language arts and social studies teacher for 20 years, and now I have a role where I help teachers and students use all sorts of technology as well in Alberta. We always want to make sure that we are honoring our land, and as guests on Turtle Island, where I am, where you are, where Dennis is, we would like to acknowledge that we're connecting virtually today from our spaces on land that has been shared with us, so that we may work and learn together. We're grateful for traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us, and those that have gone on before us. Our recognition of the land wherever we're at, whatever treaty or unceded territory you're on, is an act of reconciliation and an expression of our gratitude to those whose territory we reside on or where we are visiting.
And thank you, Microsoft, for funding this event so we can do this for free. Thank you very much. So everybody could join us for free today. And okay, so here we go. Now, here's the thing. You can hear and see us, hopefully. And I think we can, because nobody has mentioned that you can't yet. But we need to be able to hear, or at least read what you are wanting to tell us. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new tab or add a new tab to your Chromebook or whatever device you're using. And we want to go to this form. And you can see it there right up on the screen, and you just type that in, and then you can actually answer questions that we ask you throughout the session. So let's try that out. I think our first one, here we go. Where are you joining us from? What school, town, that kind of thing. And because we're Canadians, Cammie and I were just talking about this before the session, what's the temperature? Right now in Winnipeg, it's minus 31 degrees Celsius. With a wind chill of about minus 37. Yes, it's cold. Why do we live here? I'm not sure, but we're here. So feel free to answer those questions. Where are you joining us from, school, town? Love to hear from you. Let us know, and we'll wait for some of your answers.
It's only minus 10 where I am this morning, Dennis.
Yeah. That's good. Well, you know what? On Sunday, apparently Saturday, Sunday, whenever you're watching this, I don't know when you're going to be watching this, whether it's what day of the week it'll be, but it's going to be 0 degrees here in Winnipeg. So,
well, you know, the rest of Canada likes to joke about people from Winterpeg.
Yeah.
So,
that's cold.
Dennis just mentioned that you might also choose to be viewing this as a recording. So whether you're live with us today or watching the recording, we're going to do lots of activities today. And so at any point, if you need more time to finish up, to maybe have a discussion with your class, you can just press the pause button, because we're coming to you on YouTube Live. You can press pause, take care of whatever you need to, and then continue to join us. So shout out to some schools coming in from Toronto and Oakville. Awesome. Okay, so today's plan, we are going to look at the foundations of AI. So what are some of the most basic things that we need to know about AI, students and teachers? So we're going to talk about general AI as machine learning. We're going to talk about the shift to generative AI. We're going to look at prompting and how to do some prompting, very basic prompting, and then some thoughts about using generative AI safely and wisely. And so we'll take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so our very first,
go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, one of the first things we want to know to get to know you more is, where are you on a scale of 0 to 5 in how often you use generative AI tools? We know that some of you might be at 0. We know that some of you will be up around 5, where it's probably you use it a lot. Maybe not quite at a 5. You might be a 3, where you use it here and there. And that's okay. So we're going to let those come in. Dennis, tell us about you. Are you a 5? Do you use AI, like generative AI, every day?
Not every day, but pretty close. I would say I'm probably more of a 4, 4.5, but pretty close to 5.
Okay, so in the chat we have some ones and twos, some fours, the odd five, oh, some more fours, and so as a high school and junior high audience, we have some colleagues, some friends in here who have been using AI, and that is fine. And I would say that this chat today, this lesson is probably especially for you, even if you've been using AI, even more so or as much as those of you who haven't used it much at all. And so let me tell you what I mean by that. No matter if or how often you use something, you have to have the training and the foundation. So imagine that there's a car and there's a 10-year-old. Dennis, I don't think your grandkids are quite 10 years old yet, are they? No, they're
No,
just
yeah,
little.
no,
Okay.
no, they're small.
But let's imagine maybe when we were 10 or a 10-year-old, could a 10-year-old hypothetically get in a car and drive?
I think so. I know when I was 10 years old on the farm, I actually drove a big old truck. So I learned how to drive using a truck, the big gear shifts and all that kind of stuff. So you can do it. I'm sure there's 10-year-olds that could drive. Sure. Yes.
Okay. Now, should that 10-year-old drive a car?
No. Well, no.
In your case, Dennis, it was still illegal,
No.
right?
Yes.
Now, would your
Oh, yeah.
parents have let you take the car and say, "Oh, well, Dennis, he's good driving around in the field where there's no roads. Let's have him drive in Winnipeg." Would that have
No.
happened?
No, I don't. No, that wouldn't have been even close to reality in my world. Nope.
Okay, so you could drive a car, but you weren't trained. You didn't have your learner's permit. Oh, by the way, Dennis, what age do you get a learner's permit in Manitoba? And we'd like to know in the
Right.
chat too, how old where
Sure.
you
Yeah.
are do you have to be to get a learner's permit?
Yeah. And I think there's some people from Manitoba in the chat too. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it's 15 and a half. So 15 years old and 6 months past your birthday is when you can actually get a permit to start driving. So that's pretty cool.
In Alberta. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you can start doing your driver's training a little bit earlier, but the permit only comes at 15 and a half.
Okay, so in Alberta, you can be 14 to start your driver's permit, and you could start driver's training at that point.
Wow.
Like you can, at 14, you can legally drive with your mom and dad or an adult who has their license with you training in the car at 14. So here's the thing. We can drive. You can probably put a kid in the car at age 10 and they can, press the gas pedal, but should they drive? And we know the answer is very logically no. Under most circumstances, they shouldn't. And so that's kind of like how it is with AI. Some of you have been using AI and you've been using it for probably a whole variety of things, but it's still super important that you get to know some training and some foundations about how AI works, and even knowing how it works can help us be better users. And so that's certainly our goal for today. So we're going to take a first step into that by looking at some machine learning. And so, Dennis, let's pop over, and we have a video that's going to talk about machine learning. So machine learning is the very earliest AI that's been around since the 1950s. Humans have been trying to program computers, machines, to be able to learn and to do tasks without specific programming. Let's take a look at this really short video that describes machine learning.
Machine learning is how computers recognize patterns and make decisions without being explicitly programmed. What's so exciting is that it's a completely different way to program a computer than what we've ever done before. With machine learning, instead of programming a computer step by step, you can program a computer to learn just like you learn, through trial and error and lots of practice.
Learning comes from experience, and that's true for machine learning too. In this case, experience means lots and lots of data. Machine learning can take in any kind of data, images, video, audio, or text, and begin to recognize patterns in that data. Once it learns to recognize patterns in the data, it can also learn to make predictions based on those patterns, like noticing the difference between an image of a car and an image of a bicycle.
AI and machine learning are playing a bigger and bigger role in society at large and shaping all of our futures. That's why it's so important to learn how it works with some hands-on experience.
All right. And so you saw, as the ladies, those were both ladies that were AI experts, talk about machine learning and how it's patterns and predictions. And so those machines have huge computer brains, and they're trained to look for patterns and then make predictions. And so that's what generative AI has become as well. So today we're going to often talk about the term data. And so again, here's one of those foundational terms that's really important for you to know as an AI user, because we talk about data all the time when we're using AI. And so data, whether we're putting it in or it's coming out, can often be in the form of images. So the computer will look at the pixels and predict what pixel is most likely next to come to this kind of pixel. Audio. So this is a great picture. If you see in the bottom left, it's got those sound waves. And so AI models have been able to identify sound waves and patterns, and they can pick up all sorts of things that we don't really notice to the human eye. Of course, text, which is what we're most familiar with. AI machines have been learning, okay, if there's a T and then a letter H, what's the next most likely letter? Dennis, do you know? TH.
Sorry, THI. Sorry. THI, sorry.
THI, it's actually THE.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So THE
I was thinking think.
Yeah. So
Yeah, okay.
THE is most likely. And so, all those different kinds of patterns.
Awesome.
And then that's the word the. And so to learn the word the is most often before a noun. Or
Okay.
so all of those
Good
things,
point.
it figures out, it works out. That is it, understanding text. So we are going to take a look at a tool that has been helping in that process as computer scientists are learning how to use AI. So we are going to come on over to this screen here. I think we're ready to this one. And so I'm going to show you a tool called Quick Draw, and then we're going to give you a chance to use this as well. But let's just kind of watch and talk things through for a bit. Dennis, can you see my Quick Draw screen there?
I can. Looking good.
Okay.
Yep.
So Quick Draw is actually, it poses as a game. And so, a sleeping bag. So it's going to ask me to draw some things. Yeah, this is an interesting
You can
one.
do it. You can do it.
Zigzag or bread or paperclip or hammer.
Oh,
Oh, I know.
boy.
It's sleeping bag.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, how it got that. So I'm going to draw a circle.
I see moon or circle. I see clock or compass.
I'm going to draw those little.
Oh, I know. It's alarm clock.
Wow. It's getting pretty good.
It is. So what I would say is I've been
I
using
see
Quick
moon
Draw
or
for a long
circle.
time.
I see baseball. I see
And
basketball or compass. Oh, I know. It's wheel.
okay. And so it's getting
I see
faster.
line. Oh, I know. It's golf club.
Can you
Wow.
imagine?
Yeah. That
Okay.
looked like a music note to me, but
Yeah.
I see
tie.
boomerang
Oh,
or fish
boy.
or pillow. Oh, I know. It's bow tie.
See, I would have thought butterfly, but
Yeah.
I see circle or moon or hockey puck or glasses. Oh, I know. It's scissors.
Okay. Now,
Nice.
that was fast, and it's gotten faster and faster. And as I've played this over the years, you used to have to, I hardly draw 2 lines in some of those cases. Look at that
Yeah.
sleeping bag.
Yeah.
How in the world that looks like a tin can. I'm not a great drawer at the best of times. So the fact that it could know that so quickly. So let's take a look at the sleeping bag. Here's the really interesting part that I want to get us to see. So I'm going to click on any of these items. Probably the worst drawing is a sleeping bag. And so if I scroll down here, this is what we want to take a look at to see the training data. And so if we see here, this is what other people drew. Now, if I scroll down here, I can see that other people had to draw a whole lot more detail before the AI recognized sleeping bag.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So most of them have way more parts. And so what's happened over time is AI doesn't just look at the shape, but it also looks at the order in which we draw things. Because even though things might look similar, the order is important for the types of things that we're drawing. So for example, you see second closest match. lots of times if people are drawing a marker, they start with a point, right? Whereas I kind of started with a top.
with
So
a circle.
AI is recognizing and learning from all of those things, not just the finished product, but it's also learning from the steps in the order in which I drew them. So really fascinating to see. Now, sometimes
And I
you get it
noticed
wrong.
too, you kind of drew it on an angle from top right to left, and it's almost like all the other ones are like that too. Seems like.
Oh,
Maybe
isn't
not.
that something? Yeah.
Quite a few of them are from starting from the top right going to the
Yeah.
bottom left. Yeah, but not all of them. But yeah.
Yeah. So all of those things kind of matter. Now, why did I do that? I'm not sure. Let's look at this next one. So now up above, I'm clicking on the word data. And so data.
Oh yeah, this is cool. Yeah.
So this is really what we want you to see today, that here's all sorts of things that people have drawn and the data sets that have discovered them. Now, you thought I was drawing a butterfly, Dennis. I see a butterfly.
Yes, I did.
Now, let's click on butterfly.
Oh my, look at all the butterflies.
So what I love though is I'm going to go back. I'm going to click on, I'm going to see if I can get it to run butterfly again. I want you to see that when I first click on it, it also shows the order of where people start. Let's see if we can make it do that again.
Okay.
Let's just go to another one. Let's go to camel. Okay. So ready? Watch the order.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah. Cool.
As people draw, let's try carrot. What's going to come first mostly? Do you think the pointy part?
Probably the top.
Leaves?
I think the leaves.
Okay.
Well,
Oh, almost always the pointy part there.
Yeah, I guess so.
Isn't that interesting? Right? So that data, it's not just the finished product. AI models, they look at all of it. Okay, they look at all of it. And so
very cool.
They've been using these to train and draw. And so this is what a data set looks like. And so AI has gotten, even this game has gotten more and more quick at identifying things. Cool. And I don't have to draw as many strokes now as I did when I played this game, let's say 5 years ago. So here's the thing. We think we're playing a game when we play Quick Draw. And we're going to give you that. We're going to give you a chance to do that right away. So let's go over there. And we're going to say, let's have you play around a Quick Draw. And in the tab, as you play, it might be quick like mine. Let's have you go in the chat. You can see the tab, the form is at bit.ly/CSW. And you can get there and tell us what was most difficult. Now, Dennis, you can go ahead and put that on the screen.
Okay.
If you just Google Quick Draw, it will come up. You'll see kind of that yellow finger. That's the icon you're looking for, or quickdraw.withgoogle.com. We'll give you a moment to play. Dennis, you can go ahead and play too. And then I want to know what item was the most difficult.
All right. I'm going to go there, get in there.
So we'll just give you a quiet moment to do that. Then we'll.
Let us know how you're doing over there. If you are just joining us, we are working on Quick Draw.
Okay. So Sarah says she had to draw a barn. That was her hardest. Okay, and then we've got Amelia from Scarborough. She says the hardest was a leg. Interesting. Okay, maybe it looked like my golf club.
Yikes.
All right.
I'm doing a terrible job.
Well, that's okay. We might get some good data from that. So even when we don't do as well, that also creates data. Okay. Taryn says the hardest was a city. Okay, interesting.
I'm almost done. I'll let you know how I'm doing here.
Okay. We'll wait for Dennis there. I'll give you some time to finish.
I got to draw a frog. Oh boy. Here we go.
Frog. Okay.
Yikes. We'll try it. You guys are going to laugh. You guys are going to laugh at this one.
So that's Dennis's frog. So I would struggle to draw a frog. I might start with the feet. Okay. What was the hard? Did it get your frog?
I couldn't do trumpet.
Oh,
I can show you what I drew, but it's really bad. But we'll see. You can see. You can laugh at me if you want. Trumpet was the tough one. That's the top
okay.
top one in the middle.
Interesting. So, and sometimes like when I think of all the ones, like if you clicked into there and looked at all the training drawings, I'm like, but that looks exactly the same. So it's interesting that sometimes it picks it up, sometimes it
Yeah.
doesn't. Did it get your
Yeah.
frog?
I got my frog
Oh,
within,
you
I
had
think
like
within,
little feet and eyes. Excellent. Okay, so
yeah.
thank you for
You're welcome.
joining us in the chat and telling us your most difficult. And for actually, what you've been doing is you have been training AI models. And so when we do these things, often they pose as games. Companies will say, hey, play our free game. You don't have to log in. You don't have to do anything. And we say, oh, great. And we do that. But what we're really doing is we're giving them our data for free. So it's almost like we're working for them for free. So here's another tool that I want to just give we're just going to take I'm just going to take a quick peek here. I want to show you. So AutoDraw then is a tool that has been developed as a result of products or of the data from QuickDraw. So Dennis, if I drew you said a trumpet. Okay, I'm going to try.
Try.
Okay, I'm going to try a trumpet. Okay, so I'm going to pick black. And up here, I'm going to click on the auto draw pen. So as I do this is a tough one.
I can't see your screen, Cami. Doesn't seem to. I'm not sure if you're on the tab or to share your.
Oh, okay. We need to go. Thanks, Dennis. We need to go to this one.
Yeah.
Now we're good, right? Okay. Auto draw. So
yep.
You got me now? Okay.
I
clicked on black. I'm on this little magic auto draw pen. So up at the top here, you can see already it is guessing all sorts of things. So I'm going to try to draw.
Okay. That looks way better than mine.
And then it's got a mouthpiece.
Yep.
And then it's got like some valves. Okay. So up here already.
Oh yeah.
Can you see it's got a trumpet?
Yeah.
So now I'm going to click on one of these, boop, and there it's given me a nice trumpet. Yeah. And so I could click up here to select it, and then I could say, oh, my trumpet should be gold, and it'll make it gold. So that is, if you want to play around, it's autodraw.com. We're not going to take time to stop and play with that one. It's there if you want it, but it is an example of how AI training is used for other products. And it's, I mean, even on our view boards, if you have a ViewSonic board or a smart board, it's using that technology to recognize writing, to recognize drawing. And so that is all based on AI technology.
Cool. It looks like we have some more friends joining us today. So if you have been joining us, notice in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a website you can go to let us know where you're from and how things are going. Hopefully you can catch up with us. You can always go back at the beginning and start with us back there, but feel free to let us know where you're from and how things are going with your AI drawings.
All right. So next we're going to slide into generative AI. And so generative AI is certainly a little bit different. When we did machine learning, it's predictive. Humans are helping it say bicycle, car, apple, banana, and so it's kind of helping to train that model. Generative AI is what we've been using for about the last 2 years, almost 2 years exactly, when generative AI came out. And so, Dennis, we're going to pop over to play that video.
Okay, I'm putting it up
that explains generative AI.
Yeah, it should be coming up shortly. Here we go.
What exactly is generative AI? When new content is created by artificial intelligence, it's called generative AI. This could involve generating texts and images, as well as videos, music, or voices. To do this, you describe in a chat dialog box what you want the AI to create. This description is called a prompt. The generative AI tools provide answers to all sorts of questions, summarize complex information, and generate diverse ideas quickly. Depending on how they're used, they can create short stories, paintings, pieces of code, or even musical compositions. The foundation for this creation lies in large amounts of data that the AI system accesses to identify patterns and similarities. The content produced by the AI is new. It's often impressive, and challenging to distinguish from things humans have made. Generative AI can also be misused. In so-called deep fakes, AI is utilized to produce images or videos that seem real. AI-generated texts are also tough to recognize as machine-made. Moreover, the AI can provide answers that sound correct but are actually incorrect. This is called hallucinating. The quality of what's created depends on both the quality of the data used and the quality of the prompts given. To effectively utilize generative AI, we need to learn how to guide the tools with meaningful prompts and use them thoughtfully. Generative AI holds immense potential and can help us in many ways, such as serving as a writing or learning partner. However, the AI should do the hard work, and humans should be responsible for the facts.
All right. So, couple great parts in there that we want to make sure we're talking about. I'm going to identify them here, and then we're going to talk about them as we continue on. So the AI, this video gives us a nice little overview of generative AI. Basically, generative means it's creating something that has never existed before. When you go to Google and you do a Google search, it is looking at all the things that have been posted to the internet, and it's saying, whoop, this one's similar, this one's similar. It's giving you it's linking you to a library or a list of things that have already been created. Generative AI, when you prompt with ChatGPT or Gemini or Microsoft Copilot, you are creating something brand new. Now, it can be used to create fakes. And the video talked about how important it is for us to be able to understand AI so we're better able to recognize those fakes. AI also, we call it hallucinates. And basically that's like AI is lying to us. It tells us things that are correct, but they aren't. And AI will be certain, no, I'm right, it'll tell you, or it sounds so certain, it sounds so positive that it's right, that if we aren't knowledgeable, if we haven't done our background learning, we can be sucked into that. AI is affected by the quality of data. We've talked a little bit about data, by the quality of prompts, which we're going to look at. And we often also want to see that the data that's used to put into the AI often produces biased results on the outside or the other side that AI puts out. And so we're going to try to do some prompting. So Dennis, prompting, in your words, what is prompting?
Asking AI to do something for you.
Absolutely. So here I have a couple definitions of what prompting is. And there's some words here that you will hear lots when you're using AI. So one word is an input. And so that's when we type into an AI system, or lots of AI systems will have a button that you click that you can voice type, that you can add audio. So that's the input, the thing that we put into the AI, whether it's a question, or sometimes we ask it a question and then we give it data to analyze. Those are inputs. Then our input is data that the AI and the company are using. And remember, that data could be audio, video, text messages. We saw that before with the machine learning video. And then output is what AI produces. Okay. And so that is also data for the AI machine and the AI company. So we're going to try to practice our hand at prompting by using a tool called Say What You See. So this is I'm going to do a little demo, and then we're going to give you a chance to try this out and see how it goes. So
okay.
We're going to give you a link, a nice short link to get here easily to do this in a moment. So this is a Google Arts and Culture experiment called Say What You See. Dennis, are you seeing my screen? Am I on the right screen this time?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, goodness.
Give me a second. I can help you with that.
It's okay.
There you go.
So
You're in. You're on now. You're on now. You're good.
So we start off here. Oh, my goodness.
It's okay.
Okay, we start off here. We'll give you a link to get there, and we're going to go level 1. So in this level, we need 50% to match. It'll give us a picture, and then we have to type what we see. It gives us hints throughout. So include information about the medium, the subject, and the context. You'll notice in the bottom left-hand corner, there's that little brain. You have to pay attention to the brain in this game. His job is to help you be a better prompter. So let's take a look at what this looks like. Okay. So this is...
Oh, that's a tough one. Oh.
bowl of ramen noodles and veggies.
With an egg.
Okay. So it's
See if
thinking.
see if it puts the egg in there for you. Oh no, it doesn't. I thought it might.
Okay,
Pretty
so
close though.
you can see
63.
there,
That's awesome.
63% match. It added some chopsticks. I didn't ask it for the pork or the egg, and it didn't give it to me. It just gave it veggies. Veggies. Now, if you look underneath the picture, notice what it does. And this is, it's, we could just rush through, but the real learning comes if we actually read what was the
Right.
prompt. So here is a soft focus. So it tells us a little about the camera, a close up. It tells us that it was a photo. I didn't include any of those things.
Okay.
Of a bowl
yeah.
of ramen with an egg and spring onions. Oh, it didn't have pork on there either, but it gave it pork. Okay, so it's important that we look at the brain. What tips are the brain giving us? Here it says, what is this style? Is it realistic, abstract, or something else? Okay, so a tip for me for next time.
Okay. Oh.
Okay, pink background with green palm leaf designs. This is like a drawing, maybe, as opposed to a photo, I think. Hey?
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Okay, well,
Gave you 84%.
it did give me 84%. I think that's a little bit generous, but
Yeah.
that's okay. So a pastel tone print of
Print.
palm fronds on a pink background. Okay, let's look at one
Pretty
more
close.
here. Oh,
Well, this is the one I did terrible on. Oh,
I'm just going to type in pink and green and see what happens.
see what kind of percentage it gives you.
Well, I didn't give it very much. Oh my word.
Yeah.
Okay. So it still gave me a 59% match. I think I would love to be in this teacher's class. It's really generous. Okay.
Very generous.
So let's look at, can you see the tip up here, Dennis? Am I getting that? big
Yeah.
enough to see?
Yeah. It's nice and big. Yeah.
This is too short to be a good description. Try to add more details about the image, such as the medium, the style, or the subject matter.
Yeah.
And so we can zip through this game and just like go really quick, but it is a great tool for helping us become better prompters. So there's my level 1 score. I think my highest was 86 on this one, which seemed a little generous. There is a level 2. Let's pop over and give you a chance to play this. So you can see here, this time I had 37, a 70. Let's go ahead and you can join us. Dennis, you can put that short link in there.
Got it on? Yep.
So if you go bit.ly/SWY for say what you, and then the word C all together, will get you right to that launch page.
Awesome.
And so you
All right.
can
I'm giving it a go too. I'm going to try.
Okay.
And just so everybody knows, I know there's a few people or a few classes on right now. Feel free to, you can see here, there's a form. I'll throw that form on there too, just so you have it. There it is.
It's on the screen.
It's on the screen too. I just noticed that. Yeah. Okay. So it's on the screen there. The bit.ly CSEU 12 a.m. That will get you to the form. Let us know how you're doing and what kind of percentages you're getting on your say what you see pictures, and I'll let you know how I did. The
percentages are coming in here. So people played some quick rounds. So we'll probably just share a few percentages and then we'll continue on here.
Sure.
So we have Raphael, his highest was 74. We have Jenna, she got an 83. She said the circus was hard. Okay.
That would be hard.
We have Taryn. He had a 69 as his highest. All right. So we've got some good prompters in there. Again, when you play that game, it is a great practice game. Please make sure that you are testing or that you are actually reading the fine print, because it certainly is a good tool for helping you identify how to be a better prompter. Okay, so we're going to take prompting one step further. Okay. Now, we have to remember that prompting is a prediction, or sorry, generative AI is a predicting machine. We talked about how it uses patterns to predict. So in everything we do, it is a predicting machine. Now, humans can produce, or it can produce incorrect content. We said that we call that a hallucination. I've also heard the word fabrications used more recently. Now, when it does that, it is the human's job to check it. You might have heard of something called the 80-20 rule. And teachers and students, if you haven't heard of that, there's often, people will talk about an 80-20 rule. We can let AI do 80% of the hard work, but we must, as humans, produce the oversight. We have to do 20% of the back end work where we're reading, we're checking, because we can't put AI products out into the world output. If we copy an AI output and we say, here's the thing, I did this, but it's wrong, it's on us. We can't say, AI made the mistake. It's us. Whatever we produce, it's still us. So please remember that. Now, what we want to see is that when we prompt, because AI is a predicting machine, it makes mistakes. It's our job to be looking for those problems and to find them. And so often a good way to identify both bias and problems in AI generated output is by using visuals. And so we're going to, again, continue to practice our prompting, but also our bias detection and our fabrication or hallucination detection by using some images. And so if you take a look at this Padlet right here, there's a picture here. I'm going to just blow that up a little bit. Nope, I didn't, but there it is. So basically what I put in here, thank you, Dennis, it says, my prompt was a doctor and an elementary school teacher getting married. And you can try this one on your own. This is an interesting one because almost every time, without fail, the doctor is always a man and the elementary teacher is always female. Now, what I'm going to do, Dennis, is I'm going to pop over to my deck over here.
Okay. And you're going to create one.
In the body, yeah. So we're going to create. So what I want to do, and I'm going to ask you to do this in a moment, is we're going to create some prompts, and we want to type in our own prompt, but we want to start to look for bias and maybe some hallucinations that aren't going right. So I'm going to just type in my first name here, and we would like you to do that. And then right here, you get this little window. And so I'm going to click on I can't draw. So I'm going to click on that. Now it opens up, and at the top, it says, what do you want to write or what do you want to draw? And I'm going to do an Olympic hockey player scoring a goal. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit go here. And so what it does is it's going to give me 4 different options. Now, before it does that, I'm going to copy my prompt.
Okay. So here we go.
I'm going to copy my prompt here. So I've Control C to copy my prompt because I'm going to paste it in here later. Now, if we look at these, Dennis, these are all men.
Yeah.
Okay. So these are all male players. Now, if we look closely, there's some really funky things that are happening here. Take a look at the sticks. Yeah. Look at the goalie stick in this first one, the goalie stick in the second one. The goalie pads in the top left are funky. This player in the top left, the blue guy, he's like parts of him. Look at this angle of the guys, or look at the skates on the guy in the top right.
Yeah, it doesn't look right.
So all sorts of wonky things. I'm actually going to pick this guy.
The uniforms aren't the same either. They got different styles of uniforms for each team.
I'm gonna as the caption, I'm gonna paste my prompts because I remembered to get that. And then what I want you to do is I'm gonna say, like, I'm gonna use the word funky. What are some funky things that have happened here? So some funky details. And we want you to add some of those funky details. So it might be like the skates, look at his weird legs. Look at how there's like 3 different teams.
Yeah, and the other net is like right there.
Oh yeah,
like right behind him. Yeah.
2 nets. Okay, so when we start to look at this, this is quite interesting. So 2 things. The funky parts are easy, but the bias, these are all men, no women. Okay. Right. So I'm going to go ahead, and then I'm going to press submit. And so then, Dennis, let's pop up on the screen the address for how to get to this Padlet to
Sure.
put your own. Now, when you add something, we will go ahead and add those in the background. So you might not be seeing them right away because we're going to moderate those to make sure that they're working there. While we're doing that, Dennis, I'm going to do one more. And I kind of like that Olympic theme. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to try that again. So bottom right again, I'm going to click on the plus. I'm going to put Cami 2, I can't draw. And this time I'm going to stick with the Olympics theme. I'm going to say an Olympic gymnast. And now I'm trying to think of an Olympic event that both male and female gymnasts do. I know, doing a floor routine.
Okay.
And so I'm going to ask it to go. I'm going to copy my prompt so I can paste that into my final show. Taking some time.
Yeah, so all our friends out there that are watching, feel free to put in your prompt on Padlet, and we will see what you come up with. And make sure you add the funky details and if there's any bias on there. And you can see the bit.ly below there to get you to Padlet.
Yeah. So if I look at my Olympic women here, the bottom right one, she's got like 3 feet. All sorts of interesting body, weird muscle things happening. So let's just pick this one. Did you notice though, Dennis, that they were all women?
Yep, I did.
So
I did.
Here's the thing. Olympic gymnastics, equal men and women, right? There's as many participants, but media likes to show the women's gymnastics more. The funky parts, this one has 2 feet, or no, 3 feet. 3 feet.
Adam happened to put one in for us. Thanks, Adam, for sharing. We can look at that in a bit, but he added one as well. So thanks, Adam. Okay. We'll show yours in a second.
All right. So we've got some funky stuff up there. All right. So we're going to move on here in a moment once we get a couple of those in. If there are some that, if you have a chance to moderate, we can go back. Why don't we
I'll go back to yours there.
Oh, go ahead.
You got okay. There we go. So there's Adam's. I don't know if you can see that. I'll just put ourselves on there. If I can make that bigger, I'll do my best to make that a bit bigger. There we go.
A librarian shelving a book. Thanks, Dennis. All four of them were white women wearing glasses, so very stereotypical. Now, if you went and you did this would be interesting, a Google search of librarian, that's probably what would come up mostly. White women, I bet, with their hair in a bun, probably glasses. And then what was the rest of the text down there?
Oh, yeah, let me get back into there. All 4 generations were of white women wearing glasses. This was the only painterly style. The rest were realistic.
Realistic. Okay, so interesting. So there again, even though there's lots of male librarians, the AI, based on its training from Google, and it's just combing the internet to get all of its data. So those kinds of things come up. All right. So that is a really great way when we look at those images to see how AI hallucinates by not getting things correct. Often in pictures, it's the arms and the legs and those kinds of things, but also the bias. And so we can really start to see the bias issues as well. So we're going to move on, Dennis. If we have time, maybe we'll come back and see what else we've posted to that Padlet. But we're gonna go on here. Thanks for those of you that are joining us.
Yeah,
we're going to finish off our time together looking at how to use AI wisely and safely. And so the big thing here we have to know is that we do need to be careful when using AI, especially AI tools that your teachers haven't given you permission to use. So when we use things like ChatGPT, or let's say you're using Google Gemini. Now, most of you won't be able to use it with your school address yet because most districts don't have that turned on for students under 18. So if you're using with your Gmail, you're in the wild consumer market.
Yeah.
And so they want your data. When you use AI for free, you're using it because they are taking your data and they're using it to train their models. So just like Dennis and I were talking about how quick Google Quick Draw was getting, it's exactly the same thing. When we use those free chat models or GPT models, Gemini, whatever, Copilot, whatever we're using, we're helping them make their machines better. So we have to know that we are giving them our free data. So because of that, we have to be very careful about what we put in. If we add too much detail, or we put in information that could end up in somebody else's AI results later on. So we want to be very careful of that. So here are some things that we should not use in our AI prompts, especially when we're not using safe in-school tools that our school district has given us permission to use. So your full name. If we use like Dennis, like there's lots of Dennises in the world, that's not too discriminating. But if I put last names, that is too close. Date of birth for sure, even age, address, anything to do with medical records. So if you have like, even if you have diabetes or something that just is kind of a common knowledge that people might know, we still don't need to give the AI those things. And this is just a pretty basic list to get us started. Let's try this activity. So here's a prompt, and it's in the italics here. And so let's say that you have to make your task is to make write a story about one of your classmates to get to know them better. So you've done some interviewing and you've had a really nice conversation, and between two friends in a class, these are absolutely fine things to share with a classmate, right? Your classmates know your last name. They know lots of things about you. They know how old you are, but it becomes not so great to put that into an AI machine, especially if it's not one that your teacher's asking you to use. So if you go home and say, oh, I don't want to do this at school, I'm going to do this at home, and you pop this in, here's all the prompt. I'm going to read it out loud. Create a short story about my classmate. And then if you type this in, what we want to know in the chat is, what is too much? What are some things here that you should not have added? Okay, so here's the prompt. Here's my classmate, Sarah Johnson, a 9-year-old with dyslexia who lives with her single mother named Jane, who works nights as a nurse at Mercy Hospital on Elm Street. Sarah gets free lunch at school and struggles with attention deficit disorder. She has ADHD.
Wow.
So in the
there's
chat,
lots there.
let's see what some of us are identifying. Dennis, let's go to the chat. So I have Assam says the fact that her mom works at the hospital and the address of the hospital for sure. Lots of you saying dyslexia and ADHD. Also, lots of you have identified both of the medical things that are in there, dyslexia and ADHD. Full name.
Mercy Hospital from Adam. Thanks, Adam. Mercy Hospital on Elm Street. That's a little bit too much.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty easy to see here. Even the fact single mom. We talked about the free lunch, and so that's often, at schools where kids can't afford a lunch, sometimes students get free lunch. It's like too much information. We don't need to know that. So there's all sorts of things here that are fine to know about our classmates in person, but these aren't the kinds of things that we want to put into AI, especially what we call the consumer models that we would log into with our non-school or a Gmail or something like that. Hopefully your school will at some point get to the place where they are providing safe AI tools for you to use, but these are still pieces that we need to remember. So when should you as a student use AI tools? Number one rule, I would say, when your teacher gives you permission to. Now, right now, some teachers are a little leery about having students use AI. Your teacher might be all for AI. Hopefully that's why you're here. But at the bottom line, you need to follow your teacher's instructions. And so I've put the stoplight model, and maybe some of your teachers might even be using this. A red is like, this is not an AI activity. And probably it's not an AI activity because of number 2 on this screen. You're in school to learn and to practice new skills. And one of the things that teachers all over the place worry about is that students will find it so easy to use AI to do things that they will not come away learning the really important school skills. And that opens us up to other problems. Your teachers might say, ooh, orange light, it's okay to use AI for some of the things. Or maybe they'll say, hey, this is an assignment where I want you to use AI this way, right? So your teachers might give you guidance. And as teachers, we're getting better at giving specific guidance about AI. But basically, we still need you to learn lots of basic things. Here's a great test that I like to use when I'm not sure if I should use AI as a student. So take whatever generative AI chatbot you're using. Maybe it's Copilot or Gemini or whatever you are using, and put this in. Think of someone who you would ask for help with students or with your homework. Dennis, did you have someone who you always kind of went to help to?
Oh yeah,
help?
yeah. My good friend Pete. We were always. I was always asking
Okay,
him.
so Pete,
He was much
all right,
smarter than me.
maybe it's your mom, maybe it's a brother. So look at this. So the examples. If you say, "Can I use AI? Can I use ChatGPT to do my homework assignment for me?" You might say, "Well, yeah, sure, I could get away with it." But then let's do this substitution. What if you said, "Can Pete do my homework assignment for me?" So Dennis, you just said that you thought that Pete was smarter than you, but I bet you knew that if Pete did your homework and you handed it in, there'd be trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big trouble.
Right.
Big
So
trouble.
so that is when we kind of put it in that lens, that really helps us out. Now look at the other one. Can I use AI to brainstorm some ideas to help get me started on a project? Can I ask Pete to help me get some ideas to brainstorm on a project?
Yeah.
That's probably okay. And so maybe we might say to, maybe we have a big project, a science fair. And so we might say to an AI, can you give me 10 examples of science fair projects about mold or about plant growth or whatever that is. And so that's brainstorming. And then you say, oh, that one, no. Oh, that one's interesting. That one's interesting. Let me look at those two. So that can be a great thought partner. And that might be kind of a yellow light or even a green light use from your teacher. All right. So that is a really neat test. If you're struggling, teachers, you can remind your students of that all the time. Why is it so important that we don't rely on AI all the time? Students, you, as you go forward, will live in a world where you need to use AI and you are going to learn to use AI. And so part of being here with us today is helping you learn about AI and how to use AI well. But as teachers, we worry that students are going to just say, oh, I can just copy this in, prompt, and go. There are big dangers in that. And we're going to kind of end today by looking at some of those. For one thing, you will become unable to manage or identify misinformation. And so we know that there's all kinds of fake news. We even talked about AI producing deep fakes. Humans have been producing fake news before AI. And so if you are only using AI and you haven't done the learning, you haven't learned the content, you haven't learned how to write, you haven't learned how to be a good proofreader, you can become easily manipulated. You can become susceptible to propaganda. If you're in high school, you're undoubtedly talking about propaganda in different countries used by different leaders throughout the past. It's absolutely 100% still happens in the present, probably more than ever. If you don't have the background information, if you haven't done the genuine learning and you've relied on AI, you are susceptible to that propaganda more than anybody. Also, we can't judge the quality of AI outputs if we don't have existing knowledge. So one of the things that I did when I started to use AI a lot is I always asked it a test question about something that I knew a lot about, right? So maybe it was a novel that I knew really well. And so then I would put that novel in and I'd say, oh, well, it got that wrong and it didn't get that wrong. I knew the novel well, or maybe I'm a hockey expert, or maybe I'm a basketball expert. So I asked my question around hockey to test it. And then I can say, oh, well, that's not quite right. And that's not right. And that's weird how it said that. So if I use it with something that I really, really know, I can help learn I can help learn about AI by using it with something that I know about. But I've already gained those skills. If we only use AI and we don't learn those skills, how can we know the quality of AI? So here's something called an analogy. And this is what we're going to do to finish. This is going to be our last activity. So Dennis, I want you to think about this too, because I'm going to ask you for one. So here's a sentence starter. We're going to finish the sentence. So I've got a couple examples. Relying on A to substitute for genuine effort and genuine learning is like learning to drive by watching a professional race car driver. So you sit in your chair, you watch Formula One all day, and then you say, okay, I've watched 100 hours of driving. I'm going to go out and I'm going to drive. Right. So you haven't practiced. You won't know the feel of the wheel. You won't necessarily know how to work the pedals. Whoops. You won't know the feel of the road. Like all those things that come from practice, you won't have those. Here's another one. Relying on AI to substitute for genuine effort and learning is like trying to become a chef by only reading recipes. Okay, so maybe Dennis, you've read 100 cookbooks. You've read everything, the recipes and the instructions. When you get into the kitchen, you still like, how does this pan work? How about the stove? Ooh, that's too high. I got to turn that down. Woo, this is burning over here. Wait a second. I haven't started right there. All the timing, all the things, all the problem solving. And so just because you've read a lot of cookbooks, that would be like putting everything into AI and prompting, doesn't mean that you've learned the thing and you aren't the thing. So let's throw this out to our friends, Dennis, to come up and share some analogies with us. So help us finish this sentence. It's so great to hear how you would frame this based on what you know and what you're familiar with. So you're going to finish the sentence, put that in the chat for us. Relying on AI to substitute for genuine effort and learning is like, Dennis, while we're waiting for our friends, do you have one for us?
Yes. Well, I have a pile, but my son and I were changing the oil in a vehicle and he didn't know how to change. Well, he's watched me change the oil in a vehicle for a minute. We have a lot of older vehicles and he's kind of a motorhead like me. So he's watched me change the oil. And then when it was his turn, he couldn't get the oil filter off. He wasn't able to turn the nut and all that kind of stuff. There's a whole bunch of things you need to do to change the oil. And he had to practice to get better at it. So, and I'll just lifting the car, like what kinds of things, like he watched me lift the car many times, but he didn't know how to use the equipment. So I had to train him and teach him on how to do all that stuff and what to look for when it's safe. A lot of safety things, obviously, when changing the oil. So that is a perfect example, kind of like yours. If you're watching people change the oil and then you try to do it yourself and you do everything wrong, you could get physically hurt from that. But that's my thought. I have many more, but that was one that just recent.
Comparison students is this: teachers, students. If we rely too much on AI, if we say, oh, AI can write my essay, oh, AI can write my biolab, your teachers probably notice. They probably know, and teachers right now are still figuring out how do we address this. Schools are coming up with policies, but chances are really good that your teachers know, and there's lots of ways that teachers know. And AI, one other thing I would add is AI is also very predictable. So it's important that you do the work, that you gain the skills. We're in school to learn. And so it's important that we don't just let AI cheat us of our education. Teachers, here's a fun example. We're not going to run this one because we knew we probably wouldn't have time. But if you have your class brainstorm names of dogs and pigs and landmarks from a big city like Toronto or New York, and you just, put them on the board or copy them, and then run this prompt. You can pause the video, run this prompt, try it in Gemini, try it in ChatGPT. If you look at them side by side, you will be able to see how similar they are, how predictable AI is. And so when we're talking about students taking the shortcut, not following your teacher's instructions about using AI, trying to think you can get away with AI to write a thing or create a thing when you haven't been asked to do it that way, it's also your output is also going to be quite predictable. And so your teachers will notice things that seem very AI-like. And so you have to know that that's a thing. And again, you don't want to shortchange yourself on the actual learning, because you need the learning skills so that you aren't manipulated, so that you have that expertise that you actually grow. So in the chat today, the very last thing in our last minute here, what was one important thing that you learned about generative AI today? Dennis, you give us one thing from you, and then let's have a couple students.
I really liked, because I never thought of it this way before, is the training and learning. Don't use AI unless you've actually learned how to use it. I think those analogies about the race car driver and the one about oil change, because you need to be safe and then you need to learn all those things and develop those skills before you can get out there and do them. I think that's a great analogy, and that's one thing that I pulled away from this session. It was really well
Tiffany says, in Say What You See, the little brain gave me better prompting ideas. Okay, good.
I like that one.
All
I
right.
love that. See what you say. Say what you see.
Friends, we loved learning with you today. Again, we hope that maybe there's even pieces that you go back and you try again. Teachers, those tools you can use with other classes. You can, take those ideas, use them with your classes. We need, as teachers and as students, we all need to learn about AI so that we are not misinformed, so that we can identify bias, so that we can identify hallucinations. That's what we need to know going into an AI world. So from Logix Academy, Dennis and I say thank you for joining us and have a great day.
Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.